Hello, Dr. Argus. I know you talked about just having us upload our presentations to D2L, but I figured having a video would be helpful because I'm going to talk about a 3D software that I'm sure not many of people in the department may have heard of unless they're within games. So I wanted to share this video with you. And today I'm going to be talking about Blender 3D. And before I get into that, a bit about sharing economy. So what is sharing economy? Sharing economy is a way of distributing goods and services that differ from a traditional model of corporations of hiring employees and selling products to the consumer. It's when people can rent and share things like cars, homes, and personal time to individuals, similar to the TED Talk that talked about the Task Rabbits and Airbnb. One method of sharing economy is nonprofit initiatives, usually based on the concept of book lending libraries in which goods and services are provided for free or for a modest subscription, which then leads me into talking about Blender. So, what is Blender 3D? Blender 3D is a free and open source 3D graphics software toolset. It can be used to create 3D animation, 3D models, motion graphics, models for games, TV, anything you can think of in the 3D graphics space. That's what it can be used for. It is created by Toon Roosendaal, a Dutch software developer, and it was released publicly in 2002. At the bottom of this image is just a screenshot of someone using Blender to create a 3D animation, and it's showing you all the tools that are within Blender. How will Blender make money? Since Blender is open source software, they do not sell any product. There's no buy one and have it forever. There's no if you buy it now, you can buy it, you can get it for free, and then get more tools and you buy more. There's nothing of the sort. It is 100% free. You can download it right now and you can start using it. And Blender is funded by a nonprofit organization called Blender Foundation. It is shared by Toon Roosendaal, and it is funded by donations from entrepreneurs, companies, and the community of people who use Blender. The donations allow Blender to hire developers to work on software and to create short films. And essentially, the short films are mostly used so they can show off the new tool sets and different technologies they're using within Blender as they update it. In an interview with a YouTuber known as Blender Guru, who is a 3D artist who uses Blender, he actually had a chance to talk to Toon Roosendaal about Blender, and he asked him like, would Blender ever be something that people have to pay for? And for Toon Roosendaal, he said that it has to be free forever because his thing was when he first created Blender, he didn't create it for a business or anything like that. He's for him, he felt he is a creator and he wanted to create something that people can enjoy. So for him, his biggest thing is to keep it open source. That way, people who are getting new to 3D can download it and not worry about having to pay for anything. They can just go in and start creating things on their own. All the access that people just try to donate and support Blender. So this slide here is to show how Blender is used within the media industry. It's used in a step of production called previs or pre-production. And what that is essentially is the idea stage of how is a project going to look, how is the movie going to be, what is the game going to be like, how the characters going to look, how they're going to move. And movies like Captain America and Spider-Man 2 used it a lot for the pre-production stage before they went to actual production, just to get a rough idea, just to really get sketch out rough ideas of what it was going to be. Wonder Woman also used it as well for that, but they also used it for their credit scene. So if you watch Wonder Woman and you get to the credits, everything in the credits is made within Blender. Blizzard Entertainment, which is a gaming company in Irvine, they when they hire a 3D artist, they essentially do not care about what program they know because they have bought proprietary licenses for all the 3D software. So if you're someone who comes in and knows how to use Blender and you're good at what you do, Blizzard will hire you and they will be like, here's Blender, use it. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to 3D software, it doesn't really matter there's really no software that is specifically made for a certain media like games or films. They all essentially do the same thing. It all depends on the person's preference. But at the end of the day, as long as they can create something that can be used within a game or film and can be put in there without any issues, then it's fine. And that's Blizzard's ideal. So, and for Ubisoft, which is a major game studio that has studios all around the world, some of their studios are switching to Blender. I believe that they have their animation studio who that makes their in-game cinematics and their game trailers for TV. They are talking about starting to switch to Blender, and they hope to switch by sometime next year in 2021. So now what I'm going to do is just really show how easy it is to get Blender and how quick it is, and just to show you how fast it loads up. And I'm going to go to the website. So here's Blender's website here. They have is blender.org, and this is essentially where you can go to download it. So we just hit back really quick. So when you first go into blender.com, this is where it is. And as you scroll down, it talks about the about page, how to get involved, people who blogged about Blender, also developers blogging about Blender, all the tools that they have and what they can do within Blender itself, and more about how you can help fund the development of Blender. If we scroll back up here, we have their download Blender. So you can click here, and essentially you can click here to download the Windows. They have here, as I say, it's fully featured, whether you're an animator, modeler, VFX, whatever it may be. Blender has you covered. Free open source, free to share, free for everything. And it talks about how you can become a part of it. So once you download it and have it, you can then go into Blender here. And I have it up here right now. And it downloads really quickly. You can do everything in it. So we can even just go here. We can move the object around the space. We can scale it. We can adjust it however we want. We can rotate it. We can go in here and edit. So we can just grab these faces here. We can just grab stuff around it and just move it around and do whatever we really please with it. That's essentially what Blender is. So as you can see, it's really easy to get started. And there's no, oh, you bought it, now you have to pay for more tools. All the tools that are within Blender, and you can just use it right now at any time. Pros and cons. So one of the biggest things about Blender, of course, is that it's free to download. A lot of tutorials to learn. So the thing about Blender, as I said, you can just download it right now. You can start using it for whatever purpose you want to use it. There are a lot of tutorials online. So as I said before, there's a guy named Blender Guru. He specializes in doing things in Blender. There's also hundreds of more tutorials you can find on YouTube. There's a huge community of people who can help you as well. If you go onto the forums or to the website, they can help you with stuff. And it's great for people who are beginners to 3D, because since it is completely free, they can download it and understand the basis of how 3D works, whether it's in terms of modeling, animation, etc. And a lot of people who are in high school use it because the high schools can download it for free and start using it so they can learn. Now, when it comes to cons, one con is that Blender is not an industry standard. As I said before, some companies do use it for pre-production, but after pre-production is over, they then go into using softwares that are the proprietary software or softwares that they are actually paying for. Blender has been around since 2002, but a lot of other companies, such as like Autodesk and everything, are companies that are for profit and they put a lot of money and funding into these softwares. While Blender has been mostly going off of donations. It's just now that Blender's starting to get a lot more love and recognition because of all the software updates they're doing. But as terms as of it being something that every company uses, it still has a long way to go because some of these companies have been using some softwares for the last 15, 20 years. And to ask them to switch to Blender at this time is a very daunting task because you essentially have to then find people that know the software really well, or you have to train people you have right now to learn the software, which essentially will slow down production. So that is one really big con for people. And if you are out there working or you're trying to get a job in the 3D and all you know is Blender, if you're someone that doesn't know how to learn the softwares really quickly, learn new software really quickly, it can be really hard for you to get a job. Right now at MSU, our 3D arts professor, Andrew Dennis, he is actually starting to learn Blender himself, so he can help teach it in our classes because he can see Blender being something that people use more in the future. But we are still going to be teaching people how to use the other software as well. It's just really another tool set under their belt. Nothing that's going to replace what they already know. And yeah, essentially that is my presentation. As I said, it was short, just really talking about sharing economy. I hope everything is going well with you back home and your family, and I hope you Continue to stay safe. Bye, doctor.